I never thought turning 60 would feel like a beginning, but out here, with the wind in my sails and the horizon wide open, that's exactly what it became. I used to think 60 was the age to slow down, to play it safe, maybe spend more time on the couch than chasing dreams. But then I did something a lot of folks thought was nuts. I moved onto a sailboat and took off. Now, don't get me wrong, this lifestyle isn't always easy. It's not all sunsets and dolphins, though those moments sure help. But the truth is, sailing after 60 has given me more than I ever expected. It's tested me, healed me, and awakened parts of me I thought were long gone. So today, I want to share the 10 biggest reasons why this was the best decision I've ever made. If you're wondering whether it's too late to chase your own adventure, well, I hope this gives you a little nudge. Let's dive in. There's a kind of freedom out here that's hard to explain until you've felt it. It's not just about going where the wind takes you. It's about stepping away from the pressure, the routines, and the expectations that tend to pile up over the years. Out here, I make the rules. I decide when to wake up, where to go, and how fast or slow the day unfolds. Back on land, life was carved up into appointments and traffic and phone calls I didn't really want to answer. Now, the only schedule I follow is the tide and the weather. I can drop anchor in a quiet cove one day, then sail off to a new place the next with nothing but the open sea ahead. That sense of control over my own time, over my own life, has been the biggest gift. And honestly, it came as a surprise. I didn't know how much I craved it until I had it. Freedom like this isn't flashy, it's not loud, but it runs deep. And once you get a taste of it, it's hard to imagine ever giving it up again. Before I moved aboard, I didn't realize how noisy the world had become. Not just the honking horns or the chatter on the news, but the mental noise too. The stress, the rush, the constant feeling that I should be doing something else. Out here, that all fades away. When I wake up on the water, the loudest thing I usually hear is the slap of waves against the hull or the occasional cry of a gull flying overhead. No TV blaring, no endless beeping from devices, no neighbors arguing through the walls. Just stillness. And in that stillness, I found something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Sailing forces you to slow down. You can't rush the wind, and you don't want to. That rhythm, the one set by nature instead of alarms, has a way of quieting the noise inside, too. It gives you space to breathe, to notice things again, to enjoy a cup of coffee without multitasking, or watch the sun rise without checking your phone. For the first time in decades, I felt truly rested. And that peace, that quiet space to just be, that's something I wouldn't trade for anything. I'll be honest, there was a stretch of time before I moved onto the boat where I started to feel like I was drifting a bit. Not in the fun, sea breeze kind of way, but in that way where the days blend together and nothing feels all that important. Retirement was nice, sure, but it lacked something vital, a reason to get up and get moving. Sailing changed that overnight. Now, every single day brings a purpose. There's always something that needs doing, whether it's trimming sails, checking the weather, fixing a stubborn winch, or planning a safe anchorage. You don't get to coast, not mentally, not physically. And that's the beauty of it. The sea keeps me on my toes. I've had to relearn things, challenge myself, and trust my instincts in ways I hadn't in years. It's like waking up muscles in your brain and your body that had been snoozing for too long. I don't sit around wondering what to do with my time anymore. I know what needs doing, and when I finish a tough day's sail or fix a tricky problem on board, there's a deep, satisfying pride that comes with it. I feel alive. I feel sharp, and I love that feeling. I've stood on quiet beaches that don't have names, watched dolphins race alongside my bow, and anchored in coves where the water glows turquoise and the only footprints are mine. These aren't places you find on package tours or travel brochures. They're tucked away gems that only show themselves when you arrive under sail. Before this, my travels were mostly airport lounges, city hotels, and ticking off tourist sites. But this is something different. It's a front row seat to the wild beauty of the world. I've woken up to the sun rising behind volcanic cliffs, eaten fresh fish from local markets in tiny coastal towns, and shared drinks with fishermen who had stories older than mine. And the best part? I get there on my own terms. No tour guides, no crowded buses, just me, the boat, and the sea. Every passage is a story, every landfall a new chapter. Some days I plan, some days I follow a feeling, but always I end up somewhere that stirs my soul. It's not about ticking off a list, it's about collecting moments that feel pure and unforgettable. And believe me, Those moments are out there. You just have to sail to find them. One of the things I didn't expect when I started this journey was how rich the people side of it would be. You might think solo sailing means being alone all the time, but let me tell you, the community out here is something special. In every port, every anchorage, there's someone with a story. Young backpackers living aboard tiny boats, retired couples sailing around the world, locals who've been fishing the same waters since before I was born. The variety is endless, and the openness is refreshing. There's something about life on the water that strips away pretense. You help each other because someday you'll need help too. You share a beer on the dock or a meal on board, and before you know it, you're swapping tales like old friends. I've learned so much from these folks, not just about sailing, but about life, about courage, about joy in the simple things. And what's wild is, age doesn't matter out here. Whether someone's 25 or 75, it's the love of the sea that connects us. That kind of bond is rare on land. Out here, it's the norm, and it makes this life feel a whole lot fuller. Back on land, I had closets full of stuff I didn't use, drawers packed with things I forgot I owned, and bills for things I didn't really need. Life felt cluttered, physically and mentally. Moving on to a sailboat changed all that. I had to let go of 90% of my things, and honestly, it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Living simply out here isn't about sacrifice, it's about focus. I've got what I need and nothing more. My clothes fit in a small locker. My meals are simple and satisfying. I've got a few books, a good fishing rod, and tools that actually get used. That's it. But here's the kicker. With less stuff, I feel more full. I'm not chasing the next upgrade or drowning in junk mail. My time goes into things that matter: sailing, cooking, fixing, learning, and just enjoying where I am. There's a deep satisfaction in making a cup of coffee while watching the sunrise, in doing small things with care. This kind of simplicity makes room for joy, and in that space, life feels more vivid, more grounded, more real. I never knew less could feel like so much more. I didn't come out here expecting a health boost, but that's exactly what I got. Before I started sailing full-time, I was slowing down. My knees ached, I wasn't sleeping great, and let's just say my doctor wasn't exactly thrilled with my numbers. I figured it was just part of getting older. Turns out, it wasn't. Life aboard keeps me moving in all the right ways. Hoisting sails, rowing the dinghy, climbing in and out of the cabin, checking the anchor. It's not a gym workout, but it's constant, natural movement. And it adds up. My joints feel better, I've lost some weight, and I sleep like a baby most nights, rocked gently by the motion of the water. Plus, my diet's changed. I eat fresh food, cook more, and snack less. It's hard to eat junk when your fridge is the size of a shoebox, and breathing in salty sea air every day, that's just a bonus. I feel stronger, more energized, and honestly younger than I did 5 years ago. The sea didn't just give me adventure, it gave me my health back, and that's something I never saw coming. Before this life, I was always rushing, always doing, rarely just being. Even in retirement, there was this pressure to stay busy, to keep up, to fill every moment. But on the water, everything slows down, and suddenly there's room to breathe. There are long stretches out here with no distractions, no background noise, no one asking for anything. And in that quiet, I found something I didn't know I was missing: time to actually hear myself think. I've reflected on my life, on choices I've made, on where I've been, and where I'm headed. I've sorted through memories, forgiven old grudges, and rediscovered parts of myself I hadn't seen in years. Sometimes I write in a journal. Sometimes I just stare out at the sea and let my thoughts wander. And you know what? I like the guy I'm getting to know again. The sea doesn't demand I be anything other than myself. No titles, no roles, no performance. Just me, in the moment, in the now. That's a rare gift, and it's helped me feel more centered, more whole, than I ever did before. When you live close to nature, especially on a sailboat, you start to see time differently. Mornings aren't just another start, they're a chance. Even a small breeze, a calm anchorage, or a warm meal after a tough crossing feels like something worth celebrating. I used to take a lot for granted. Days flew by in a blur. Now, I wake up grateful for the sunrise, for the sound of the sea, for the chance to see what the day brings. Some days bring challenges, sure, but even those feel like they mean something. I've learned to appreciate the little things. Dry clothes after a squall, a hot cup of coffee when the cabin is chilly, the quiet moment just before dusk when everything turns golden. Those small moments add up to something big, a sense of joy, of wonder, of being fully here. I don't dread Mondays anymore. I don't count down to the weekend. Every day has its own rhythm, its own rewards, and everyone feels like a gift I get to open and live. Maybe the biggest reason sailing after 60 has been so life-changing is this. It reminded me that age is not a wall, it's a doorway. So many folks thought I was crazy when I told them I was heading out alone on a boat. Too old, too risky, too late. But they were wrong. I've done things on this boat that I never imagined I could. Navigated through tough weather. Fixed things I barely understood a year ago. Anchored solo in strange places and felt totally at home. Every challenge I've faced has been a reminder that I'm not done growing. Not by a long shot. But even more than that, I proved it to myself. I broke through the fear and doubt and found a version of me that's strong, capable, and ready for more. And if I can do that, anyone can. It's not about sailing, really. It's about reclaiming your life. About realizing it's never too late to start something new, to live fully, to chase what makes you feel alive. That's the real win. That's what this whole journey has been about. So yeah, sailing after 60 turned out to be the best decision I've ever made. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. It's challenged me, changed me, and given me a life I wake up excited to live. If you're sitting there wondering if it's too late, trust me, it's not. The sea's still out there, the wind's still waiting, and so is your next adventure. Thanks for being here with me. I'll catch you in the next one.